What is up, YouTube? This is Geo. Thank you for joining me on Geo's journey. And this is my second gas stop of the day. Everything has been nice and smooth and easy so far. Temperatures have been right around 70 mark. Cloudy, no sun, which I love. So let me talk about my setup a little bit. I have the Honda Nav with my destination point entered, and it's displaying on the screen. And then on my phone, I used an app called My Radar. It's a real-time app. It's free, and it shows all the storms in the country. You can zoom in and out, and it's been really helpful. My original route took me through St. Louis or Kansas City, and there was a huge storm in that area. So I was able to reroute myself using that app. So I headed up north about 60 miles from my original plan, and in doing so I was able to dodge a couple of storms. Rode right between them, hit a little bit of mist, but like I said, I dodged a couple good ones. So that is helpful. That's why I like to use the infotainment system on the Honda Nav. I'm sorry, the infotainment system on the Honda. I'm able to do multiple things at one time instead of just having everything on my phone. I can let the bike do the navigation duties, and then I can use Waze, I could use My Radar app, I can use Google search to find gas stations or restaurants, just like I covered in my curvature tutorial. I can get three things going, and of course the music. I have Spotify that I've been jamming to, so I can use multiple things at one time, just like the Nav was designed to do. Usually on my destinations, I want to get there as quick as possible, so I'll take the slab, and then I want to return home as quick as possible, so I'll take the slab home. So in that regard, I don't have to use any other outside route planning sources for that. Just type in the address on the Honda Nav, and it's as simple as that. When I want to take a route off the slab, when I want to go exploring, then I will use curvature. If I wanted to take back roads all the way there, I would have used curvature to plot my route, transferred it to the bike, and used the Honda Nav for the navigation duties. The trip see if I can turn that down. You have to turn the volume down on the Nav or on the headsets or on the bike when each of those things is going on. So when she's giving instructions, that's when you have to turn the volume up or down. Or when I'm talking to my passenger, if I had one, or another rider, I can turn the volume down on the bike, or I can use the headset to turn the volume down. My headset, as I've mentioned, is the Pack Talk Bold, waterproof. I can get over 13 hours. I can charge while I ride. It's got the JBL speaker, so the sound is as good as it's gonna get on a motorcycle with all the outside noises. Let's face it, we're not looking for high fidelity when you're doing 70 on a highway. So to me, it's the headset to get. I know the new Senna 50S is out, but the Pack Talk Bold still has those advantages over the new 50S. It can go longer on a charge. You can charge while you ride. I'm not sure if the 50S can do that. But anyways, that's why I've chosen it. What I want to do right now is kind of give you a little story. As I've mentioned, I'm meeting up with a couple of guys, one from Oregon, one from California, and we left another brother behind for some medical issues. He's from Houston. If you recall how I bought my motorcycle, he was the man that picked it up for me and test drove it for me and broke it in. We get together every year or two and come up with a ride, and unfortunately medical issues prohibited him from doing it this year, but he's recuperating nicely, and I have no doubt that next year he will join us. It's a group of 4, and we're like brothers. We have the same morals, similar characters, similar political affiliations and thoughts and leanings, same sense of humor. We all have thick skin, so we ride each other as hard as we can and put each of us away wet, so to speak. But the story of how we all got together is really interesting. About 14 years ago, late one night around 2 a.m., right around the time Al Gore invented the internet, I guess, I was cruising the internet, and I was heavy into motocross at the time, and I was going through a motocross website. It was a 4-stroke website, and I've never owned a 4-stroke motocross bike. I've always owned 2-strokes, so there was really no reason for me to be in that website reading about 4-stroke bikes. But as I perused the website, I noticed an outpouring of love for a young guy that had passed away in a motocross accident. His name was Garrett, and his number was 393. And to this day, I get choked up just talking about it. But this kid was all over that website. For as young as he was, he had figured out some of the shortcomings of the YZ426F at the time, and he was eager to help anyone and everyone with what he had found to make the bike work. And then, as I read on, I also noticed a lot of tributes. So I clicked into those, and come to find out, this young man had passed away doing what he loved best, racing his motocross bike. The short story of it is that he had a new bike, not used to all the power of it yet, and he came around to turn a little too hard and gassed it too much, and he flew off the berm and hit a tree. And his father, who was there watching him at the time, very close family, they did everything together. His father ran over to him, and unfortunately the young man passed away in the father's lap. From that website I was led to another one, and it was called All Things Moto. And the father had a big presence in All Things Moto. And so here I am at 4 o'clock in the morning, perusing through All Things Moto, and I ran into the father's writings of the events that had transpired. The unimaginable hurt he managed to get into words as best as he could, and it was a journey that he took himself and the rest of us on through the mourning process. We followed him along as he grieved the loss of his son, and the emotions and feelings and deep despair that he went through. Through that website, a memorial was established, and every year the Garrett Memorial Ride took place in Houston. And so after reading what the poor father had gone through, I knew I had to visit and partake in that memorial ride. So I chatted briefly over the following weeks to some of the members. I chatted with the father, got to know them, got to know a few of them, as well as you can get to know someone on the internet. And when the time came, a few of us loaded up our trucks and our bikes and headed down to our first memorial ride. I think it was the 4th altogether. The father would hold a get-together at his house the night before the ride. Little cookout, drinks, everyone get to know each other, and just a lot of camaraderie. I remember climbing out of the truck and thinking to myself, what the hell am I doing here? I don't know anyone here. I'm not an outgoing person where I can walk up to people and present myself in such a way. But I hesitantly made my way up the driveway, and as I approached, this big, goofy looking guy with a big beard, big old smile on his face, made a beam, a dart, a line right at me, and he said, "You must be George." And I said, "I am." He goes, "I'm Mike." And we just hugged. Didn't have to say much. We knew what we were there for. So after the hugging, made me feel right at home right off the bat. Made me feel like I had known him all my life. So after that greeting, I meandered around, got to meet a lot of people, and as the night progressed and the crowds died down, there were 5 of us left. One of them was the guy from Oregon. The other one was the guy from California. And so we sat around, we laughed, we cried, we ribbed each other right off the bat. We accepted the ribbings like it was coming from friends that we had known our whole lives. The connection was instant. The next day, we rode to the track together, and we raced, and we talked, and again we laughed and we cried. The following night, it was time to depart, and I knew at that moment I had made friends that would last a lifetime. The kind of friends that you can call up and say, hey, I need this, and without question they would be there for you. I keep my circle of friends really small. I only allow people in it that think about others the way I do. I'm loyal to the guys I call friends, and I will do anything for them, trusting them, knowing that they in return will do the same if I ever need it. So as many of you know, we can have a lot of friends, but those kind of friends are few and far between. So then a few years later, circumstances arose where I was able to get a bike and join those four clowns on a trip out west, and it was the time of my life. The camaraderie that's there is a brotherhood. We may talk to each other once a week, once a month. We're in each other's lives. We follow each other on Facebook. We text each other. We're there for strength when each other needs it, when each of us needs it. It's the kind of group where all four of us can just sit around and not have to say a word. We know what each other's thinking. We know what each other's feeling. It's the kind of group where you let loose your inhibitions and you talk about things that you don't talk to about other people. I'm a very private person. I even have a hard time opening up to my own wife. I don't have any friends outside of these three clowns, and I say clowns in the most loving of ways, but I don't have any other friends I can open up my deepest, darkest fears and concerns to. And I have. There have been a couple times in my life where it was the lowest I had been. When you're looking up at an ever increasingly small hole from the pit you find yourself in, and you reach up, and the faces of these three guys will be there, holding out a hand, reaching down, pulling me up. And I hope that they feel the same about me. So that's the story of how this Ole Farts Ride, OFR, came about. We make stickers, or I should say one of the members, Ernie, makes stickers every year that we ride. And it'll have the OFR logo, the year of the ride, and the number 393 in memoriam to the incredible young man whose legacy has been huge that dire, bleak circumstance has led to many wonderful experiences and many wonderful friendships. And every time we ride together, he's always in the back of our minds, in thought and prayer and in memoriam. Alright, so man, I still get verklempt every time I mention that young man's life story. So okay, I'm at about 340 miles in. Like I said, I'm going to try to do 800-900 miles today, but I'm not going to push it. We don't check in tomorrow until 3 o'clock, so it'd be silly to wake up or to arrive there too early. I thought about doing the 1100 miles all in one flight. We'll see how that goes. That's still open. I have done 1200 in less than 24 hours from our last OFR ride, and that was with the stock damn seat and no highway pegs, and with CarPlay that wasn't working. So now I got my Corbin, I got my highway pegs. I've got my highway pegs. Did I just say that? I think I did. I've got my CarPlay working, my radar detector. Life is good right now on this thing. 340 miles in, and I feel as fresh as I left. The nice temperatures, about 75 now. The right temperature has a lot to do with comfort. So that'll be it for now. I'll check in with you guys later. Thank you for listening.